Welcome aboard the Pilot Money Guys podcast, where our mission is to help professional pilots build and protect wealth on their journey to financial freedom. This podcast is brought to you by Leading Edge Financial Planning.
All right. Well, welcome to the Pilot Money Guys podcast, where our mission is to support our professional pilots and just get out messages that might be helpful, add value. And so today we've got my good friend, Ryan Watson today. So Ryan, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So today we're going to talk about a lot of stuff. We're going to talk about business. We're going to talk about life. We're going to talk about addiction. We're going to talk about struggles, and you've got an amazing story. And I asked you to come on here because, like we were talking about before this, we all struggle. We all, yes. in our airline pilots, our professional pilots, man, there's mental health. There is suicide more than there ever should be. One is more than there ever should be, of course. And a lot of times, Ryan, in the world of aviation, you don't talk about any of that stuff because the moment you say something like addiction or mental health, you're out.
Sure.
You're out. Now, the disability plans have gotten better, but there's a little shame involved. There's a little bit of professional, like, man, am I going to be able to fly? Am I going to be able to, So there's a lot of that. And that could contribute a little bit as well. But we're also going to talk about success, and what success is to you, how that definition has changed after you've gone through what you've been through. Okay. So that's what we're going to address today. And I just want to tell everybody listening that, this is just going to be a really awesome discussion that you and I are going to have, an amazing story, I think. And it's a story about faith too. Faith is a big part of both of our lives. In fact, you and I go to church together. Yes. So we're going to talk about faith and we're not going to preach or beat anybody up over religion, but it's a big part of your story and my story. So that's going to be an important part of this. So I'm excited. And I think it can be really valuable to our audience, not just for the reasons we talked about, but Ryan too, as we prepare for retirement, sometimes we get so laser focused on the money, money, you know what I mean? And that's okay to a certain extent. We have to be kind of focused on it. But at a certain point, it's not a trophy on the wall. What's the larger purpose? And I think you'll tell us, man, when you go through what you've been through in life, I think that purpose becomes a little more clear. So, yes. So awesome, Ryan. Good. Again, Thank you, man. We appreciate it. I appreciate you. But let's start off with just right now, you're a successful business dude, and talk to us about your business, what that looks like, and what life is like right now.
Yeah, sure. Small business, 10 employees. But like I was telling you, we keep having record years. We're growing. I think we could grow a whole lot more if everything just worked out just right. And if I was willing to put that much more time and effort into it. And we'll get into that, I guess, later, what's important to me now as much as what was important to me. But small business, heavy duty truck shop. We work on tractor trailers, big trucks, any diesel engines. We manufacture new upfits. We'll get new units from the dealerships in, and then we put all these parts and stuff on them. It's just growing in a lot of different areas.
That's neat, man.
Yeah.
You're an entrepreneur. You did some sales work back in the day.
I did, yes.
And so that's how you got going. But you are, let's see, how do I describe you? You're just like a charismatic dude. I think you're the kind of guy that people gravitate towards. You know what I mean?
Well,
yeah. I think so. And
I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And so it's been neat to see your success in this business that you have here locally in our area. But I think it's amazing because people meet you now and they see the successful business that you built and an amazingly, charismatic dude that's, people love to be around, but it wasn't always that way, right? I mean, that's a part that when I see you and then you tell me your story, I don't believe it because that was another life for you. But can you back us up a little bit and kind of start maybe from the beginning? And I know maybe high school time frame, and I don't even know the full story, Ryan, but how did it kind of start around that time?
Just briefly, if we go to like childhood raised in a Christian home, blue collar, working family, was taught to work hard, was raised in church. No drugs or alcohol ever. I was never around that. They were pretty protective. And when I got older and when I got in moving on into high school, I kind of wanted to get out there on my own. I got a little wild those years, you know, and it started out innocent.
Yeah.
It was innocent, but one thing led to another. And which basically led to the big picture of you're looking at somebody that was 20 plus years of addiction.
Yeah.
End result.
Yeah.
That started out fun, that started out good times, and there was some good times, but it got to a point where it was never enough. It was always more, and I lived a very selfish life. That goes together.
Sure.
Addiction, selfishness is all about me,
Yeah.
and I didn't know how bad I was. I probably was borderline narcissist.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. So Ryan, like when you're out, you're having a good time. And quite frankly, most of us did probably on the call or in college or whatever. Hey, we're partying. But yours went to a different level. What do you think? What was that? Was there a trigger, or do you think there was a reason? Maybe, I don't even know. Maybe it's hereditary. There's addiction. But were there events? Were there things that you're like, man, I'm taking this to the next level? Maybe it wasn't a conscious decision either, obviously.
It really wasn't. That's a good question. It really wasn't. It was just, I was always that kind of all my group of friends, I was kind of the one that would push the envelope a little bit further than everyone else.
Yeah.
I was the one that would stay a little later at the bar or stay a little later if we were wherever we were at. And I would get out there a little further than anyone else. They were able to control that.
Yeah.
And I really wasn't. I was always looking for something more.
Wow.
Yeah. And even though I said I would never do this, I would never do that, I would never try this drug, I would never, do something criminal, I ended up, those choices that I made took me further than I realized. And you don't have control.
Yeah.
It's like, you become an alcoholic, you really don't have a control of stopping. When you decide to stop, nothing's planned.
Yeah.
It just grew. It was a monster that just grew and grew over the years.
Wow.
And that comes with, and when we're hitting the highlights here, you lose a lot too in addiction. You lose your identity, especially when you do something that gets out there in the public. You've got to combat that somehow, especially if you're worried about what people think of you. You got to tell yourself something for it to be okay.
Yeah.
So you're losing your self-esteem. You're telling yourself, I was basically becoming a different person unknowingly.
Wow.
Darker and darker and darker.
Well, that's amazing. It is amazing. Like you said, there are some folks that they're the first to leave the party. They're the first to go, all right, that's enough. I'm good.
Responsible.
And but at the same time, yes. I mean, the things that make you a gregarious, like charismatic, loving, caring person. I'm not a professional in this area, but I've seen it before. My college roommate was very similar to you. He was very similar. He just wore his heart on his sleeve. He's just the most caring person in the world. But man, he couldn't dial it back, and he went down the path as well. But for you, Ryan, like it was alcohol. Was it always just alcohol, or were there other things that kind of came into play there?
Okay, so it started out, it was alcohol. And then later on in my 20s, the drug that actually pulled me into drug life and another level was cocaine. Oh, wow. So when I started down that road, that opened up. It changes you. Obviously, it changes you, but I mean, it changes you long term. My thoughts were not clear. I've looked at it like this before, and I've explained it like this. It started out that I would look for those drugs after I got drunk, after I had drank enough to where we're out, and I'm like, let me find something else, and then it grew to the point where I couldn't go out before getting the drug. I'm searching for it before I even go out. Yeah. And then just further and further.
Yeah. That's incredible because, you're probably dealing with a couple of things there. You're dealing with maybe the mental and emotional, like you said, you become a different person. You're trying to make a story. Then there's the physical stuff too, right? But it's amazing because you mentioned like, hey, I'm raised in a good godly family, but we do think looking back, were there any, I don't know, insecurities or anything like that started you down that path that may not have been at all, but are any emotional triggers for you?
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, there was always, I always had a little bit of anxiety, and I always kind of questioned a little bit of who I was. And it's just, it's insecure. It was insecurity that was always there growing up. And I really wasn't self-aware enough to even put a finger on that. I just knew that the way alcohol and drugs made me feel, that was gone. And that felt good to just be free of that and be another person.
Yeah.
Because honestly, for a lot of years in my life, I really didn't like who I was. Mm-hmm. So I traded that for someone that I really didn't like who I was, but I didn't have control over that.
Oh, that's fascinating. Because I think all of us, Ryan, feel that way to some extent, and but man, it's that is amazing, that trigger, that it becomes physical and then it snowballs.
Yeah. It's hard to even speak about. And I know what people are going through. It's hard to say as a man that I felt insecure or that I had anxiety, but completely on the other side of that and trying to be out there to talk to anybody or be in any situation and try to look like I felt comfortable or be comfortable with the drugs involved. I was just being something I wasn't. Instead of embracing who I was always trying to be somebody else.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, man. And I know that a lot of, I think all men or most that I've met are exactly like you. We don't really want to admit, it's not cool to talk about, these insecurities that we all have that are probably glaringly obvious to everyone else except us.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting right now, Ryan, we're doing a little book study in our office, and it's about being vulnerable and to each other as in a business setting. And that's really hard because we all have those insecurities that you're talking about. But I don't know, I just say all that because of our pilots out there that, are trying to put up that armor. And that's kind of what causes people to go down that path in the first place, it sounds like.
Yeah. Definitely a big factor.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for the people watching that, it's that this doesn't have a place or a person that they can open up to. That's got to be even harder because you definitely have to you got to worry about what people think about you.
Yeah.
And you got to, take care of your reputation, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
you're right. And, what you're speaking to, I think, is what you and I talked about beforehand, where it's like as a pilot, like, what do I disclose? And, how do I get help? And by the way, you're supposed to be a tough pilot person anyway, male or female, and so that's just kind of comes along with it. But seeking help, like you said, is sometimes difficult. Luckily, some of the benefits have gotten better, but man, we still see too many people with addiction and suicides in the airline world. But Ryan, while you were going down this path, were you working then and building a business at that time too?
That would just depend. There was the year that my business started was 2012.
Yeah.
And we started just grassroots, just a couple of employees and completely new clients, new customer, new building, new everything. And then it grew and it was doing really, really good for that time. And I got married and had my first child, and I was staying off drugs at that time. I was still drinking. I'm still living that lifestyle, but nothing is why I was trying to settle down.
Yeah.
Right after my daughter was born, I just out of nowhere, I relapsed.
Wow.
And when I did, I lost everything.
Wow.
Yeah. And within a year, lost everything. The business stayed intact barely, but went through divorce, lost my daughter.
Wow.
I couldn't be around her on my own. Got in trouble, got arrested, and went to jail. And that was not new. I've skipped a lot. I'd been to jail before my life.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
So, like I said, it's 20 years plus addiction. But when I was in jail this time, that they had these tablets in the jail, and the inmates that were in there, you could see things on the tablets, like when your court was, or what your bail was, and all the information that an inmate would need. But there was one thing on the tablet that you could watch, and it was a church service. Yeah. And the church service, it was Rio Revolution Church. And I had no idea about that church. I knew of it, but I didn't know anybody there. I didn't know what they were about. That's the first time I remember watching the tablets while I was in the jail, and was watching the sermon, and my pastor.
Wow. Our pastor, we go to the same church.
Yes, our pastor.
Yeah, right.
But I say it like, then he was I didn't know him, but then now
that's right.
He's my pastor,
yeah.
Our pastor.
Good friends with him now.
Good friends, he's been there like for me on a completely another level, as well as a lot of people from our church. But he preached the sermon about Christ leaving 99 for the one, and that just stuck with me. And I'd lost all hope at that point, because I was you remember, I told you how much it meant. I worried about what people thought about me, and I didn't want, the anxiety and the self-esteem. And then you just can't run from a jail trip.
Yeah. Wow.
You can't lie about going to jail and the terrible things I did in my marriage, and my little baby girl, me walking away from, for drug use. I mean, I'd burnt every bridge, and I didn't want to do that. The addiction just,
takes over. Wow.
Yeah.
Ryan, I know you're going down that path, but can you back up and tell us, like, I know you were in jail several times off and on.
Yeah.
You told me a little bit of the story with the last one. I think that was the last time you got put in jail. What'd you get put in jail for?
The last time?
Yeah.
The last time was possession. Pulled over, and I had drugs. Yeah. The time before that I did the most time was robbery.
That's the one you told me about. That's right.
Yes. 3. I robbed 3 stores. I got caught for 2. The lady said in the police report that I was the nicest robber she'd ever met.
See, I know it.
And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of being the nicest robber to ever rob a store in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Oh man! And you told me, like, how did you hold it? Well, I don't even know the right words. How did you?
I didn't have a gun. No,
yeah.
I don't know. I just I put my hoodie on, and walked in, and was like, "Give me the money." And
I'm envisioning you like pointing your finger through your sweatshirt or something. Maybe that was like in the movie.
I didn't think of that. No,
that was like the movies or something.
Yeah. No, I didn't think of that. It was really dark times.
Yes. Wow.
Really dark times.
Man, it's just hard to imagine how any of us can go down that path. Any of us.
That's how far.
Yeah, that is, it's incredible. And so you were in and out of jail off and on. What would you say? You said there was the longest you were in. How long was that for?
2 years for that. 2 years.
That was the last. Was that the last one there, or the?
That was for the robbery. Okay. That was before marriage. That was a bad time. That was after like 4 rehabs, and I guess we back up that far. In 2006, I went to my first rehab, and then I did a total of 6 rehabs, inpatient rehabs. I mean, I was trying.
Yeah.
I mean, I always was trying to stop.
Yeah.
But so the 6 rehabs, 3 trips to jail, and then I went through a halfway house too. Yeah.
What does a halfway house mean? Does that mean you live there and try to recover? Okay.
Yeah, it's tough. It's terrible. I mean, it's rough. You're living with all these other people. It's just like being in jail, but it's just a step, I mean, to being free. But it was court mandated, and And the thing about it is, none of these. I had no contact with the law ever until I turned like 30 years old. Like up until 30 was my 20s was just the party years that it didn't turn criminal.
Sure.
But the deeper I got into addiction, then it turned criminal. I mean, it's even hard to even today to hear myself say I robbed 3 stores. Yeah. But I did. That's the truth. And it is what it is. I can't go back.
Yeah. And like you said, the drugs, well, they turn you into something. I mean, we've all seen and probably all have known people that have done things that are not who they are. Man, it's just hard to comprehend what that can do to people. But Ryan, what was it like for you when, I just can't even imagine. You've got a family, you've got a daughter. I know your daughter now, she's sweet. And leaving her and marriage and things, were you aware enough at that time to know what was happening, or are you just kind of still out of it?
Yeah, I was aware enough. I knew what I was doing. I used things that my ex-wife would do to like justify anything that would justify my behavior. I would reach for anything that would allow me to blame it on somebody else. But honestly, I did believe that at that point. I was not aware that of the truth. I was believing my own lies. So
it's that, like you said, like you just kind of mentally and physically done things and become a different person. Like
I did. Yeah.
That's incredible. So here you are in jail, and I know your story because our pastor tells it all the time.
Yeah.
And he shouts you out all the time, during service. And, but basically, I think if I got it right, you walked from jail to church. Is that right?
I did not. That was not me.
That was Mitchell.
That was Mitchell and another guy, Sean.
Two of them have done it.
Two of them have done it. Sean works for me. He's an employee of mine now that's been with me 2 years, and I'll tell you about him in a minute.
Yeah.
But I was the when I seen that on the tablet, I knew I just needed hope. I had no hope.
Yeah.
It was that time in my life when I was praying, the only thing I could get out was, God, please help me.
Yeah.
Like, I got no more excuses. I got nothing. I really had come to the end of myself.
Yeah.
And you guys are getting the fast version because that's all you can get. It would just be over and over things, but I'd come to the end of myself, and I felt led to go to the church. I thought maybe they'll accept me because no one else was trying to accept me. So I got out. I was only in there for a week or maybe 2 weeks. Yeah. And I went that first Sunday. I had lost every vehicle. I had multiple vehicles. I had the house. I had a lot of things and toys that I had lost, and I had lost my license. So my mother took me to church, and she was pretty happy about the fact that I wanted to go to church.
I bet she was. Man.
She was very happy about
what
that.
She's been through, man.
So she took me. We sat in the back, and Pastor delivered a sermon, and at the end of the sermon, he pulled a seat up and set it on the end of the stage there, and said that this is a seat for someone for a seat at the table, a seat at the table, and who wants this seat? And I don't even remember getting up.
Yeah,
I'd already made my mind up. I'm going to the altar, and I'm just giving my life to Christ. He could have preached anything, or he could have delivered any sermon. It didn't matter. Ready. Yeah. And I went down, I got that seat. When I met him, I stuck my hand out because he was still speaking as I went down. And he stuck his hand out to me, and I said, "I'm Ryan Watson." I said, "I met you last week in jail." Wow. And he turned and said that to the congregation, and they just went nuts. They were so happy that I'd come. And they just, like, people were just praising, and I'm like, where else could I go and be treated like this, walk straight out of jail? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, where in the, like, I couldn't believe it. Yeah. So much. They were just so good to me. Yeah. And no one asked me what I did or asked me. No one, they were just ready. They were comfortable with a guy that would come out of jail. Yeah. I was feeling pretty insecure at that point, feeling pretty bad about myself. Wow. And they lifted me up, and I gave my life to Christ. Mm-hmm. And I meant it. Yeah. I gave it to him all. I had no more plans. Well, I walked away from there, from that day. A week or two went by, and I realized I'm not thinking about a drug or a drink. Yeah. I'm just not thinking about it. It was crazy. It was kind of odd. I was like, I didn't realize that I hadn't been, but it hit me. I was like, I'm not thinking about that, because all I had for 20 years is this record player all the time. If I'm sitting here, like if this was me before we would be doing this interview, I'm thinking when I'm fixing to leave, what plans I've got. Let's wrap this up so I can go, And that was gone. And I never had it. I never had it. I've never had that thought since then.
That's incredible.
It really is.
Yeah.
Only I know that how profound that is for me. I mean, remember, I went through 6 rehabs, jail, robbed stores in the name of getting high.
Yeah.
That's how bad that was, that addiction, and it was gone.
Wow.
And that's been over 5 years ago.
That's incredible. And statistically speaking, I mean, we work in the foster community, and the chances of, most, quite frankly, there's a lot of drugs, and the chances of parents getting their kids back because they're on drugs is really, really low. Really.
Yes.
So that is incredible.
Yes.
Amazing story. But Ryan, it's now you're one of the leaders, I think, or you're involved in our jail ministry, right? You're communicating with people now. Are you still doing that?
I did for the first 2 to 3 years. I did. Yeah. I'm currently not. I've just become so busy with business, family. I did. I did some classes, discipleship classes, with one of the leaders at the church. That's been very special to me. He's one of the elders, Don, and so I did discipleship with him. Yeah, and I took last year off just to try to get my head straight. I had so much going on, and I'm ready now. I'm ready to jump back in it next year.
Oh, that's neat.
I just needed some time.
Absolutely, man. It's neat though, because you have a story that you can communicate with those folks. Like I cannot, I don't have that connection, but man, that's pretty neat that you're still able to contribute and will again. But so now fast forward a little bit, you had built, and I didn't really articulate, you had built a pretty successful business before all this happened. I mean, it to a pretty good level.
Yeah.
Like you said, you had all the cars and the toys and things, and you lost everything. And now you're getting back into it. And so now as you're running a business, and like you said, the business is growing tremendously. And how is your perspective? I know it's crazy. This is a big question. You could probably talk for a long time on that, but how is your perspective different running the business now versus before? How do you think differently about success? How do you think differently about money? Those are big questions, but what are your thoughts?
I thought about this because you'd asked me this earlier, and if I could say anything that is really changed is I've learned that it's not about me, where it was always all about me. Now in business, it's not about me. If I put my employees first, if I put my clients first, if I put my family first, I put anybody that walks in that business, put them first. It's not just about me. It's not about what I can get, what I can do. And if I'm looking to bless everyone around me, the best I can give them a place that feels like family, and that's their job, it's got to be successful. That's success to me today. The P&L was success then. And the P&L is important, but I honestly don't have to hit those numbers. They hit themselves today because I've got a crew that works and gets better and better at what they do. When I'm there or when I'm not there. And before, I never had that.
Wow. That's incredible. It's incredible how I know there's books out there. I've seen titles before about what we all learn from people with addiction. You know what I mean? Because like I said earlier, you've gone through stuff that I've never gone through. You've maybe hit rock bottom like I've never hit before. And a lot of the world learns lessons, like we talked about earlier, how to be vulnerable, how to be real, how to be authentic, and how to put others before yourself. And those things, by the way, make for a very successful business, make for a very successful pilot life. Ryan, we've got people that'll come on the airplane and they're going to try to take care of flight attendants or take care of passengers, take care of or help at least in any way we can. I think that makes for people a much more rewarding experience. It's just looking for the paycheck, which is, like you said, P&L, profit and loss statement, was your focus before and very different afterwards. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yes.
Man. What about your just overall look on life? You got your family back, you got, your relationship with Piper, your daughter back. I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty incredible, huh? What are your just daily operation, right now as far as how your outlook on life now?
Yeah. Well, you just don't, I don't know what's going to happen each day.
Yeah.
And I love putting my trust in God
Yeah.
today. And I know no matter what happens, that he's there for me and I can rely on that, and
Yeah.
my nothing's perfect. There's issues and there's problems and inside the family, outside the family, and we work through them.
Yeah.
We put God first and we work through them
Yeah.
no matter what. And I've got a household that's Dion, my wife, and then she has two sons that are 21 and 18, and I love them to death. They're both really good kids. Well, young men,
Yeah.
hard workers, and love them to death. And then when I've got my daughter Piper, like you said, when she's over here, we're all together, and it's great.
Yeah.
So I went Saturday on a hiking trip. I took the youngest son, Santino.
Yeah.
We went on a hiking trip, and you had texted me.
That's right.
And he wanted to go on a good one. So I took him to this trail. It's called Charlie's Bunyan.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that trail?
I've heard of it. And
you've just heard of it.
I've heard of it. I've never been there. I got to go because, you texted me like, hey, what a coincidence.
I know. I was like, I'm on Charlie's Bunyan texting Charlie Mattingly back.
And then Ryan, I said, what a coincidence. I've got some bunions. So
that's what you said. Yeah. You're like, I don't even know what a bunion is. But no, that was last Saturday, and I about died. Yeah, because I'm so out of shape these days. All I do is sit in front of a computer at work now, and I need to exercise more. That's one thing I need to do is more exercise.
Absolutely, me too, man. That makes two of us. But Ryan, as we wrap up today, you talked about success, what that means to you now. You talked about how you view things differently, after what you've been through, and it's pretty incredible. And we work with a lot of folks that they're preparing for retirement. Money is important for, like you said, the profit and loss statement, P&L statement's important. It's not the most important. But, after all that you've been through, you're running a successful business. You got to retire one of these days, probably. And you might retire early and do some other things, right? But what's important about money to you, in your life now?
The most important to me, I don't want to misuse it. I want to, but yet I want to always be willing to bless others when I get this opportunity. And it seems that the more that I do that, the less important and the less Scroogey I get. The more I keep my hand open to bless others that are in need. Yeah. Because hey, I've been like you said, I've done without before a lot in my life. It may be self-inflicted, but it was still painful. And I've been there. So I think that I'm very thankful for that. It kind of keeps me humble. Yeah. And it's God puts people in our path all the time that have needs. So if I can continue to do that, I guess that would be what I have to say about that is if I can continue to help others and not treat money like a god.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not just hoard it all up.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. And it's hard not to do that sometimes because we need it. It's like food, we need food, but we need money to retire. We talk about money all the time, but we also try to have, like you said, the right perspective. We also learn. Yeah. I quite frankly love the study, and one of our favorite books is The Psychology of Money. There's been lots of studies out there, Ryan, that talk about when you give money away, when you're charitably inclined, let's say. In fact, there's one TED talk that I like, and it's how can money buy happiness? And I think that's the title, but it says, if you give it away, it kind of makes sense, right? It's intuitive, and we experience that.
Yeah, it's true.
So
it's true.
It's incredible. And plus, like you said, it keeps you from being Scroogey. I love it, man. Ryan, thanks, man, so much for taking the time today. It's awesome. I love to hear just the perspective, in your life that you've gone through, and that trials and tribulations and the second chance that you've got, and what you're doing with it is incredible. Really appreciate you, man. I appreciate you and all that you do, and I'm glad that we're good friends, and I hope we get to spend more time together soon. I know we're both busy and all that.
Sounds good.
Yeah, man. I'm going to finish up today, Ryan, with a couple of quotes that I think are pretty powerful. And one of these is from Russell Brand. I don't know if you know Russell Brand or not.
I do.
Yeah, interesting dude, British guy, been in some movies, but he's come around and he said, I live in negotiation with the shadow side that has to be respected. There is a wound. I believe that this is more than a characteristic of addiction. I think it is a part of being human to carry a wound, a flaw. And again, paradoxically, it is only by accepting it that we can progress. And I think, Ryan, that kind of is what you were talking about. We both talked about like, hey, we all have insecurities. We all have these challenges. And sometimes drugs is what is the result. But it can be anything. It can be like you said, the addiction to money, the addiction to work, the addiction to achievement. Those are just more socially acceptable methods for than being somebody that's strung out on drugs, quite frankly. You know what I mean? But it might be the same type of things. But the last one is the J.K. Rowling. I think she wrote the
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, thank you. I looked it up right before and I forgot it because I wanted to say The Hobbit too. I think your kids are a fan of that, right? Or the
Piper loves, yes.
The fan of the movies there. But she said rock bottom became the solid foundation on which I rebuilt my life. So
I've heard that one.
I thought about you and I saw that one. I was like, man, we got to have that one out there. But Ryan, once again, man, thank you so much. Appreciate you. And thanks for taking the time today.
Thank you, Charlie.
All right, man.
Hello, Pilot Podcast family. Charlie here. I just wanted to share with you something we've just recently developed. In the show notes, you're going to see the Pilot Wealth Index. We want you to check it out. Give it a shot. It's a quiz, a short questionnaire that allows you to understand, are you on track? We have a lot of people that say, hey, we just want to know if we're on track. Are we where we should be at this stage of our flying career, airline career, whatever it might be? How am I doing? Am I close to my peer group? Am I behind? Am I ahead? We've developed some questions, some metrics that we think if you go through this and check it out, answer the questions, you will have a very good idea of where you stand. We developed the questions that give an indication of, are you doing the right things you need to do to be prepared for an eventual retirement and that one that can be profitable for you. So check it out in the show notes, the Leading Edge Pilot Wealth Index. We hope you give it a shot. If you have any questions at all, reach out. Happy to help. Charlie at leadingedgeplanning.com. Again, that's Charlie at leadingedgeplanning.com. You can call or text me on my cell, 865-328-4969. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to the Pilot Money Guys podcast. Please subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes or wherever you listen. We are grateful for your reviews because they encourage others to listen in. Visit leadingedgeplanning.com to learn more and subscribe to our newsletter. Leading Edge Financial Planning, LLC, LEFP, is a registered investment advisor. Advisory services are only offered to clients or prospective clients where LEFP and its representatives are properly licensed or exempt from licensure. For additional information, please visit our website at www.leadingedgeplanning.com. The information provided is for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute investment advice, and it should not be relied on as such. It should not be considered a solicitation to buy or an offer to sell a security. It does not take into account any investor's particular investment objectives, strategies, tax status, or investment horizon. You should consult your attorney or tax advisor. The views expressed in this commentary are subject to change based on market and other conditions. These documents may contain certain statements that may be deemed forward-looking statements. Please note that any such statements are not guarantees of any future performance, and actual results or developments may differ materially from those projected. Any projections, market outlooks, or estimates are based upon certain assumptions and should not be construed as indicative of actual events that will occur. All information has been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but its accuracy is not guaranteed. There is no representation or warranty as to the current accuracy, reliability, or completeness of, nor liability for, decisions based on such information, and it should not be relied on as such.